Hello viewers, I'm Red2006 and I'm very pleased to have you join me on my latest project, a scenic tour through the Johto region in Pokemon Gold version. Gold was actually the first Pokemon game I played. I picked up Red a little while afterwards. It was a fantastic time to be growing up when Pokemon was the big thing. The series has changed a lot since then, but there's still plenty to enjoy even in these retro adventures. While a lot has changed for the better, it can still be fun going on these nostalgic trips. Anyway, I hope you'll join me on this scenic tour, and I'm looking forward to showing you what Pokemon was like when I was growing up. Let's begin our adventure now. As we saw, just before midday. Let's get going. Hello! Sorry to keep you waiting. Welcome to the world of Pokemon. My name is Oak. People think I'm a senile old fool who can't remember his grandson's name. I do that just to annoy him, to be honest, because he's kind of a dick. Anyway, this is a Pokemon. If you don't know what one of those is, you've been living under a rock. People and Pokemon live together by supporting each other. Some people play with Pokemon, some people battle with them. Some people think they're also glorified dogfights, so Peter cracked down on us at one point, the jerks. But we don't know everything about Pokemon yet. There are still many mysteries to solve. That's why I study Pokemon every day. Or so I claim. I like to give all my research work to 10-year-olds who wander off and put whatever they feel like in the Pokédex. Now then, what did you say your name was? I am going to honour the Red 2 portion of my name. We will be calling ourselves Wedge. Wedge, are you ready? Your very own Pokemon story is about to unfold. You'll face fun times and tough challenges. A world of dreams and adventures with Pokemon awaits. Let's go! I'll be seeing you later. I admit I wasn't overly fond of the Let's Go games, but I acknowledge them as a great way to get into the series for casual players. I don't object to them because they're casual games. I tended to object to them because the series has leaned a lot more towards Generation 1 nostalgia of late, and to be honest, it gets a little bit annoying. But as games, they're pretty solid on their own. And we're getting our Pokegear. Sort of like a prototype smartphone in a sense. We will set the day of the week, and it is Monday. It is not daylight saving time, it's the middle of winter. And I do know how to use the phone, but we get a tutorial anyway. It's basically the same. I accidentally hit the B button there, so we got the tutorial if you say no. Anyway, this is our home, New Barktown. There are 4 buildings, so you really can't get lost. Professor Elm's house is just here. The sign in the centre of the town gives its little slogan. Quite a pleasant little place. Up here is Elm's lab, and there is a mysterious red-haired boy staring into the lab. We assume there's a window there anyway, and he's not trying to stare through the wall. Very rudely, he'll shove us out of the way. But let's head into the lab and talk to Elm. Wedge, there you are. I needed to ask you a favour. I have an acquaintance called Mr. Pokemon. He's a bit of a crackpot, if I'm going to be honest. He's always ranting about some sort of conspiracy theory. I really don't want to think about the time he kept me there for hours talking about the Psyducks and the tinfoil hats. I just got an email from him saying this time it's real. The incident with the Tauros was real as well. We're very busy with our Pokemon research. Very busy. Could you look into it for us, please? I mean, I'll give you a Pokemon for a partner. They're all rare Pokemon that we just found. Go on, pick one. It's not a bribe or anything, trust me. So, we have the 3 starter Pokemon, and this is where I'm going to introduce my special feature. Each episode, there will be a Pokemon Spotlight. It will focus on important Pokemon for the episode. Against the gym leaders, it will be their ace Pokemon. As we travel, it will be Pokemon I find are important to the episode or just ones I like which happen to appear in that episode. Anyway, let's get an introduction to the starters of Johto. The starters of the Johto region play out somewhat similar to those of Kanto as far as stats go. They share the same base stat numbers when fully evolved, just switched around a little. Compared to Venusaur, Meganium switched defense and special attack. As for Feraligatr, it switches Blastoise's HP with its special attack and its attack with its special defense. Typhlosion and Charizard have the same base stat allocations. As for the families themselves, Chikorita is recommended for seasoned trainers. It is a defensive Pokemon with an unfortunately shallow move pool, and no advantages against the Johto gyms, on paper anyway. Support moves such as Reflect will help against Whitney, while it can hit Chunk's Poliwrath and all of Price's Pokemon for super effective damage thanks to their dual types. Team balance is essential working with Chikorita, but putting in the effort can result in a very sturdy Pokemon, which can handle most aspects of a casual run with ease. Its evolution path is the most balanced. Cyndaquil has things fairly easy in the early game. It will breeze through Sprout Tower and Bugsy's gym, and it evolves the earliest from its first form. It has access to some useful moves, like Thunder Punch via TM, when fully evolved. Only in the late game will it start to see issues, but a good grass or water type will cover its rock and ground weaknesses nicely. It has great special attack and speed, making it a reliable powerhouse for the regular run, but it can't take hits particularly well. The fact you need to wait until level 36 for Typhlosion means patience is vital. Totodile holds the honour of being my first ever Pokemon and one of my all-time favourites. This boisterous little bruiser will have plenty of physical force. Regrettably, most of the moves it will want to rely on are classified as special moves in this game, but that won't hinder it too much. It can easily take care of the game on its own if equipped with a good water move, Ice Punch, and a couple of backups. But don't get complacent. Build a good team around it, and you'll have even more rewards from a very capable Pokemon. While it evolves into Croconaw a little later, level 18 tied with Turtwig, for the highest level at which a first form starter evolves, it becomes Feraligatr at level 30, the only starter to reach its final form this early. It is also worth noting, the starters of Johto are the only families where all three are single type. And with that little introduction done, we are going to choose, drumroll please, Cyndaquil! Yes, I said Totodile is my favourite, but I'm going with something different. So, here's our new buddy. And I'm going to give him the nickname I used in my practice run because it was fun. And it allowed me to make a lot of bad puns. Ladies and gentlemen, I introduce you to Torture. Yes, I'm not ashamed of that pun. So, our next destination is Cherry Grove City. Cherry Grove is a small town you won't really need to visit a lot after the early game. It's a very nice location though. In fact, quite a lot of locations throughout Johto are really beautiful and the remakes show just how good looking they are. So we have a potion. There's one in the PC in red and blue. This is where you get it in gold and silver. That red-headed kid is still there, but we can set out onto Route 29, but let's go talk to Mum first. People do rely on us a lot. Let's be honest. The Pokemon world relies on 10-year-old children, or kids around that age, way too much. And before we set out, we will have a quick introduction to Torture. As you can see, he's holding an item. You'll take this for granted, but it didn't exist in red and blue. This was the first time it happened. So, basic moves, and he's holding a berry. when his health drops below half, it will restore 10 HP. Fairly decent stats along the way too. Let's get rolling. Route 29, plenty of trees and a fair few wild Pokemon to meet. Except I managed to get through there without being interrupted. Quite a surprise, to be honest. If you head up here, you'll discover an item. And there we go! Time to meet the new Pokemon on the route. Pidgey is the most common one. Interestingly, Rattata is not that common on this route. You'll also meet Sentret, and at night, Hoot Hoot will show up. Sentret can only be found here during the day. And small spoiler, since it's one of my favourites, it's going to be next episode's spotlight. So we're in the middle of a fairly tough battle. Highest level Pokemon we can encounter. And the berry kicks in. Now when it comes to Pokemon battles, I will be showing actual battles. I will skip as many wild encounters as I can, but new encounters, or ones where my commentary happens to run through the battle, will be retained. There's another potion in that little nook, and those small trees, you can headbutt them. But overall, this is a very pleasant location. Calm, peaceful, not a lot to do, but plenty of Pokemon to find. It will be a while before Torture gets a Fire type move. Level 12 is when he learns Ember, so we have to rely on Tackle for the time being. There we go, finish with a critical, and we will level up. Your starter Pokemon tend to level up fairly quickly at the beginning. This is particularly handy. They will be a bit slower at it later on. I'm going to be skipping encounters for now until I get to... Cherry Grove City. I can continue with this bit of recording because here is Sentret. Very unusual for an early game Pokemon in that it's quite rare to find. Okay, let's see how I go. Can I get this one? Another Tackle should do it. Oh wait, the Sentret? Okay, I honestly didn't know Sentret could be found holding berries. That's pretty cool. I'll heal as well so that we're on much more even footing. Well, there you go, you learn something new every day, I guess. And there we go. Close to leveling up again. Now, if you head through the gatehouse here, you can reach Route 46. You'll find Pidgey and Rattata there at the foothills of the mountains, but you can also catch Geodude. Geodude is very handy if you have Chikorita because it will cover all its weaknesses. And for personal preference, I'd say catch a female Geodude. That's going to come in handy later on in the game, and you'll find out in due course. Anyway, pop up here, and this tree will yield a berry. As you saw, they'll restore 10 HP. In the remakes, all the trees hold apricorns. You'll get the apricorn box on Route 30. You can grow berries yourself by finding a few along the way and using the berry pods. I'll quickly heal, and then we will go and talk to the old gentleman we saw at the entrance of Cherry Grove City. He will help out with a little tour. That is the guide gent. He will give beginning trainers a tour around the place, and then he will give you the map card for the poker gear. I don't really need his advice, but I'm more than happy to show it off just for the sake of demonstration. I believe he automatically guides you through the town or city in the remakes, and he will give you the running shoes afterwards. Very basic stuff really, but it does show you that Cherry Grove is quite a picturesque location in spite of being such a small town. I mean, you have the ocean nearby, it's surrounded by trees. It would be a very quiet but very lovely place to live. And here we are, that's his house. That just fits right on in the poker gear. You will pick up one more card for it. So let's just quickly show this off. There is your town map for the game, always on hand. With Torture healed up, we can head onto Route 30 and make our way to Mr. Pokemon's house. We'll meet a couple of new wild Pokemon on this route as well. Unless they're Pidgeys. On the way, stop into that house. You can grab a berry here, and the gentleman inside will give you a berry as well. He is the man who gives you the apricorn box in the remakes. It's not actually worth holding on to the apricorns that much in these games. Because if I'm going to be honest, the Pokeballs aren't very useful. Except for a couple, which were ultimately superseded. I will go more in depth when we actually get to Azalea Town. Now, if you try to head up this side of Route 30, you will see some people staring at each other. This is presumably a Pokemon battle, not that you can tell from the very generic sprites Pokemon had in menus in this time. You have to head up this way and we will meet Mr. Pokemon. Had a surprisingly good run with not running into wild Pokemon. Tell you what, I'll do a little bit of training first, then we'll head into Mr. Pokemon's house. Okay, we've run into something new, Metapod. Wild Metapod only have Harden, so you can gradually chip away at them. Good for leveling up. Caterpie can also be found on this route. If you are playing Silver version, you will find Weedle and Kakuna instead, and I tend to prefer that particular line. Beedrill's my favourite bug-type Pokemon. Yes, every time you fight a Metapod with physical moves, it is a slow and boring process. Unless you get critical hits which ignore positive defense modifiers. They have been tweaked in the years since. They had to be adjusted from the previous games because they actually ignored all stat modifiers. So, having finished another fairly slow battle with a Metapod, as I was saying, critical hits worked very strangely in the first generation. Their damage was sort of more equal to, in a sense it was tied to your level. It would be, say, if your Pokemon was level 5, it would do 1.5 times damage. If it was, say, level 21, for some reason it would do 1.21 times the regular damage. They ignored positive and negative stat modifiers, which wasn't necessarily helpful, and they were also tied to the Pokemon's base speed divided by 512 and multiplied by 100. So for example, Alakazam had a base critical rate of 120 divided by 512 times 100. Something slow like Snorlax wasn't going to score a lot of crits. However, high critical moves were base speed divided by 64 times 100, with the 1 in 256 glitch affecting them. Subsequently, Pokemon like Venusaur, which knew Razor Leaf, could pretty much pull off a critical hit every move. With all that out of the way, let's go and see Mr. Pokemon at last. Hello, hello! You must be Wedge! Professor Elm said that you would visit. This is what I want Professor Elm to examine. It's real this time, I promise you. It's got nothing to do with tinfoil hats or moon conspiracies or whatever, but please do listen to my theory about the Marowak and their bones. They're actually Oh. Well, I know a couple who run a Pokemon daycare service. It gave me that egg. I was intrigued, so I sent mail to Professor Elm. For Pokemon evolution, Professor Elm is the authority. Even Professor Oak here recognizes that. If my assumption is correct, Professor Elm will know it. Aha! So you're Wedge. I'm Oak, a Pokemon researcher. Don't worry, I will remember your name. I'm not that stupid. I was just visiting my old friend, Mr. Pokemon. Actually, he's not my friend, and I'm just visiting to humour him. I really don't want to hear about his stupid Marowak theory. I heard you were running an errand for Professor Elm, so I waited here. Oh, what's this? A rare Pokemon. Let's see. I see. I understand why Professor Elm gave you a Pokemon for this errand. Well, firstly it was a bribe, but I know you'll take good care of it. To researchers like Professor Elm and I, Pokemon are our friends. He saw that you would treat your Pokemon with love and care. Ah, you seem to be dependable, and you're just about the right age too. How would you like to help me out? See, this is the latest version of Pokédex. It automatically records data on Pokemon you've seen or caught. It's a high-tech encyclopedia. I can't be bothered doing my own research if I'm going to be honest, so I'd much rather give it to you. Put whatever you want in there. Go meet many kinds of Pokemon and complete that Pokédex. But I've stayed too long. I have to get to Goldenrod for my usual radio show. I prefer to waste my time flirting with my co-host rather than doing any actual research. Wedge, I'm counting on you. No, seriously, I outsource all my work. You are returning to Professor Elm? Here, your Pokemon should have some rest. And I do apologise if you heard that funny little tone. My phone got a message partway through. I probably should have switched it off. Anyway, we can head back. And there's a phone call. Hello? Wedge? It's a disaster. It's just terrible. What should I do? No, please get back here now. Professor Elm has found himself in a bit of trouble. Let's head back. No screen time for Pidgey. Well, at least it's a Caterpie. I just wanted to show that Caterpie can be found here. No time for you either. Get through this grass, and you can now jump off ledges to make the journey back a lot quicker. Much, much easier. Anyway, since we're fully healed, we can just head back. Oh wait, hang on. That's that redhead kid from earlier. You got a Pokemon at the lab. What a waste. A wimp like you. Don't you get what I'm saying? Well, I too have a good Pokemon. I'll show you what I mean. And here is our rival. 3 question marks. Let's fight this mysterious man. Torture should be at a good enough level to fight fairly easily, but I think I will use Leah to drop its defense a bit. Otherwise this might take a while. Even for a starter, Totodil's physical bulk is pretty much the same as Chikorita's, and there we go, that changed the fight. And down we go with another level out of it. Mystery Man was defeated.
Are you happy you won?
And we took his money.
My name's...
3 question marks.
I'm going to be the world's greatest Pokemon trainer.
Shoves us out of the way again. I shall heal, and for now, I think we'll wrap up the episode, leave it on a little bit of a cliffhanger. Professor Elm is freaking out. A mysterious kid has a Pokemon we saw at the lab. Put 2 and 2 together, and hopefully don't get 5. Anyway, thank you very much for joining me, and I will see you in the next installment of our scenic tour through the Johto region.